What up, good people, and welcome to another episode of Keep It Thorough, where we give you the real behind business, health, money, and self development, and introduce engaging concepts to help you elevate your performance in all areas of life. I'm your host, Cedric Lavelle, joined by my counterpart, Mr. E Double.
Yes, sir. It's your boy E Double. We back at y'all again for another week of Kit, baby. Season 3, episode 120. And the title of this episode is Go Anyway. Encouraging insights for getting past fear. So really about just facing your fears, overcoming your fears, and not letting that be a barrier, to your successes and your better self, man. So with all that being said, be sure to check out the kit that corresponds with this episode at keepitthorough.com/kits. And we greatly appreciate everybody who podcasts with us wherever you podcast. So let's go and kick this thing off, Sid.
Let's get into it, man. So there's a quote that goes, "Never allow your fear to decide your fate." And I think this powerful quote really captures the heart of our conversation today and what we're going to be discussing. Because when it comes to fear, fear is a natural and often immobilizing reaction to the unknown, right? And it serves as just this. It's like it serves as this invisible wall between your current state and your desired destination. And the key to getting over that wall lies in your decision to go anyway. It lies in your decision to move forward anyway. And to move forward anyway means that you recognize the presence of fear, but you choose to act in spite of that fear. And you can reflect on just numerous occasions when hesitation has held you back and your aspirations were stalled by the grip of fear. Or you can think of instances where fear urged you to stay safe, to avoid risk. I was about to start over them R words again. Avoid risk. You know what I'm
You just in
saying?
your head now at this point.
Right. I know what I'm saying. I see an R word, I'm like, oh God, dog. But avoid risk, you know what I'm saying? But that fear led you to believe that you were incapable of achieving whatever it was that you wanted to do. When truthfully, in those moments is where your power really resides. You know what I'm saying? And by choosing to move forward anyway, you're not just confronting your fears, you're really redefining your potential. You're declaring to yourself and to the world that your dreams are really worth the risk and that your capabilities exceed any challenge. You know what I'm saying? Because here's the real, many monumental achievements were once formidable challenges met by fear. And the difference between those who succeed and those who don't often boils down to the willingness to take that initial step despite fear being present. It's the bravery to advance, to embrace uncertainty, and to trust your own strength. And contrary to what many may believe, fear is not your adversary. You know what I'm saying? Fear is really just more of a reminder that you're stepping beyond your comfort zone and into a realm where growth can really occur. And it's important to embrace the fear. It's important to confront fear because ultimately, the only thing that stands between you and your dreams is your willingness to move forward anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, absolutely, man. When you were saying that, I was like thinking about it, and I'm like, fear is like stepping into an uncomfortable situation, right? But like
Absolutely.
not all of those uncomfortable situations are bad.
Yeah.
Like fear does not mean bad. Like you could fear many different things because of lack of experience or confidence or whatever the case may be. But it's like stepping into an uncomfortable situation. But moving on, y'all, right? So there's some transformative power in facing your fears, right? So facing your fears head on transforms your circumstances and helps develop who you are. So, even when you're fearful, when you decide to just go anyway, you build up resilience and self-confidence, and then every challenge becomes a stepping stone towards your greater personal, goals and your growth and it allows you to discover strengths you never knew you had, right? So there's an intimate connection between growth and fear highlights embracing discomfort's importance. And that read all crazy. That sounded crazy to me. Um, this intimate connection between growth and fear highlights embracing discomfort's importance. There we go. That sounded a little better right there. But growth and fear are intrinsically linked. Right. So fear signals the boundaries of your current comfort zone. So I just said, right, like fear is like stepping into a uncomfortable situation, right? And like fear is basically the acknowledgement of you stepping into that uncomfortable situation, right? And it just signals your boundaries, like, okay, I'm not comfortable no more. Something's different about this. You know, there can be various different reasons why something's different about this, but you know, it's your signals going off. It's your spidey senses. You know what I'm saying? They trigger, right? But you know, pushing past these boundaries expands your capabilities and opens, you know, doors of new possibilities. You know, you can get to experience things you haven't experienced. Put yourself in better positions that you haven't been in before. Doors kind of start to open for you essentially. But
Right.
you know, imagine a runner pushing through a pain barrier to break their personal best, right? So say you're a track star and you know I don't know, I'm trying to think of like a time. So say you run the 40 and you been running a 4.6 and you trying to, you know, beat that 4.6. You trying to run a 4.5, right? And you've been training and training and training and you're trying to push through that pain barrier, you know, to reach like your personal best. The discomfort that you feel while you're doing that, while you're training, you know, that's temporary. But like the achievement and self belief that you gain by, you know, once you actually accomplish that goal, like those things last forever, right?
Right.
So you know that uncomfort, that discomfort, that man, I don't want to get up and go do this, or you know, your coach on you, you know, whatever the case may be, you hard on yourself, you're tired, you're exhausted, but once you know reach that um achievement, you know, once it becomes a reality, like your confidence is just through the roof, and you can always look back to that moment as a sign of motivation, right? So when you feel fear, see it as a guidepost pointing you towards your next level of growth, right? I
Right.
always say when I'm in the gym and I'm working out and I'm tired and people next to me and we trying to motivate each other, I always say when we get tired, like, man, you're not tired. Fear is just weakness leaving the body, right? And I know I heard that from somewhere. I don't know where I heard that from. And I'm sure it's pretty common, but I just say that all the time, right? Like pain is just weakness leaving the body, right? So when you're in them uncomfortable situations, but you know it's for a positive thing. That discomfort is temporary, but the results of that will last for forever. You know, I was gonna say for a while, but it'll literally last for forever.
Absolutely, man. And I believe, man, that fear is a reaction and courage is a decision. And I think often what happens with people is whenever they're faced with a daunting challenge, whenever they're faced with something that they're uncertain about, or something that makes them uncomfortable that they've never experienced before, their first reaction may be to be fearful. You know what I'm saying? And they're fearful because it's the unknown. They don't know what's on the other side of this. They don't know what the outcome could potentially be. They don't know what experiences they may have if they make this decision, if they take this step. But displaying courage is something that we actively do. It's an active choice that we make. And that shows that we recognize that we have control over how we respond to fear. Like we control that. If we're feeling a way about something, we can control how we respond to that. And that takes courage. That takes the choice to be courageous. In a helpful way to really gain control is just reshaping the perspective that you have about fear. And I think people are challenged by fear because of the way that they look at it. You know what I'm saying? And I think ways that you can recognize fear differently is understanding that fear is just a universal experience. Everybody goes through some sort of fear, you know. Everyone feels fear. It's completely normal, right? You're not in a position where you're doing anything that's unusual because you're fearful about something, right? It's a part of being human, but what really makes the difference is how do we respond to it? You know what I'm saying? And the people who succeed are the ones who take action even when they're scared. They're scared about what can potentially happen, but I'm gonna go anyway, right? I'm fearful about what the outcome could potentially be, but I'm gonna take a step further, right? I'm gonna focus on the strength that I do have, and I'm going to believe in myself and do what I think is necessary, even though I may be intimidated by this situation. But I feel that with every small step that you take, that makes a significant difference with how you view and how you approach fear when you're starting to progress forward. You know what I'm saying? The next thing is just understanding that action dissolves fear. You know what I mean? And taking even again, taking even just the smallest step towards something that scares you can make a huge difference because each little action that you take, it builds the momentum and slowly but surely fear starts to lose grip on you. And just like E was saying, what was pain is just what is the pain is just weakness leaving the body. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
fear.
yeah.
You know, just it's when you embrace that fear and you overcome it. It's just that weakness that's leaving the body. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna embrace this. I'm gonna take it in, but I know when I do it, it's gonna force that weakness that I have to move forward to leave my body, so I can be confident in moving forward. You know what I'm saying? It's all about baby steps. You got to take baby steps. You got to crawl before you walk. You know what I'm saying? You got to walk before you run. All of those things. But when you train yourself to think this way, it's when you begin to start to see the differences in how you approach fear. And then the last thing is just understanding that fear offers valuable insights. You know what I mean? Fear can be insightful because it often points out areas in our lives where we need to grow or where we need to heal. You know what I'm saying? And when you face these fears and you work through them, you're not just overcoming the fear itself, you're improving your overall well being. You know what I'm saying? You're improving your personal growth. You're doing things for yourself that are valuable and that are beneficial to you that make a significant difference. So, again, to overcome fear, you have to change your perspective. And once you change your perspective, you can put yourself in a different position where you can see fear as being an advantage opposed to it being an adversary.
Yes, sir. So I think all of us in our pretty much everyday lives, we, encounter different situations that trigger fear. And I'm sure all of us, for all of us, those things are different. So
Right.
I'll use myself as an example, right? Like if I'm getting ready to have a very important meeting or, like an interview or just any sort of, kind of like a potentially life changing type conversation or talk or meeting or something like that, I get nervous. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like I legitimately do. Like my voice could kind of get a little shaky. Like I can get just real uneasy, like, your confidence ain't always necessarily there. And the best way I get through that is by like it never stops me from doing what I'm supposed to do. What gets me through it is just starting, and then like some comfort comes with it as it
As you progress.
stars and as I progress through it, right?
Right, right.
So that's just like an example for me, but I know everybody um encounters different situations that can trigger some sort of fear. And like some examples would be, speaking up in the meeting, which is like well, I don't really have that speaking up in the meeting, but similar, right? But for speaking up in the meeting, starting a new project, or making a significant life change. So, say you're moving or starting a new job or quitting a job to or whatever the case may be. All of those things could potentially trigger fear. And those moments, right, which are, daunting, a lot of the times offer opportunities for huge growth, right? Like those are the situations that challenge you, that push you, past your limits, and where there's growth on the other side. But imagine someone who fears public speaking, But then they, decide to volunteer for a presentation, like say the presentations at work. The initial steps might be a little shaky, right? But each attempt builds confidence. So over time, what seemed terrifying becomes a skill that that person now has. And, depending, it might even be a strength, and it's a testament to their courage, right? So this person knew that they weren't good at public speaking, but said, you want to know what, I'm gonna challenge myself, I'm gonna volunteer to do this presentation. They probably did the research, spoke to some people, gave them some confidence, some tips that might have gave them a little bit of confidence as they kind of went through the steps in practice. And then over time, they're not even scared to do it anymore. Now they
Right.
they not only um like to do it, it's something that they're really good at. It's a strength of that person. And a lot of us, right? Y'all, the term a diamond in the rough. I'm sure a lot of people have, those sort of hidden talents and strengths that they don't know they have because they've never been in a situation to,
Bring it out of them.
explore them
Right.
or display it. But this journey is not unique to any one person. Like this really applies to all of us, and many have faced similar fears and came out stronger on the other side. So by understanding that fear is a shared human experience, we can draw strength from the collective courage around us. So, like just knowing, it's as it silly as it sounds, right? To just when you get in that moment and you're nervous, to just, really just say to yourself, this is normal. You know what I mean? People deal with this. There probably will be some calm that comes with that. You know what I mean? Just remind yourself, hey, I'm human, man. This is human experience. This is a big deal. I care. That's why like some emotions are involved.
Right.
Like I actually care about this. And hopefully that'll help, bring some calm. But this shared journey highlights that pushing past our fears is possible, and it's a path that a pat. What did I say? A
A
path
path. Yeah, a path.
that can lead you to achieving amazing things. So gotta just face your fears, man. You just gotta face your fears, and there's a lot of positives that can come beyond them. Once you kind of conquer 'em.
Absolutely. And I feel, man, you can't wait for fear to disappear. You know what I'm saying? Like I think a lot of people get themselves into a situation where they're scared to make a move, or they're challenged or nervous to do something because they think that those feelings are going to go away. And there's a lot of times that I've heard about people who are athletes, professional singers, all of these types of things, people who perform at their highest level and are well known for their profession, still get nervous. They still have these butterflies before they go out there and play a game. They still have these butterflies before they go out on stage and they perform, but they still do it anyway. The nervousness never goes anywhere. The fear of potentially maybe messing up never goes anywhere. But they trust themselves. They trust their process that they went through, the learning that they went through, the training that they went through. All of these particular things were there to help them and to build their courage, right? They were able to push through the uncertainty. And those things matter in the long run, right? Like I said earlier, when you take these little steps start to build your confidence, right? And then it starts to bring some sense of familiarity when it comes to certain situations whenever they come about, right? But to move forward with confidence, to have these feelings that you embrace, and when you get to those points where you're not allowing fear to dictate your actions, one thing that you have to do is just acknowledge the fear. What is it? Name it. You know what I'm saying? What is it that you're fearing? Do you fear heights? Do you fear failure? Do you fear people laughing at you? Do you fear disappointment, emotional distress? What is it that you're fearing? And I believe that once you can recognize what it is that you're fearing and you can call it out, that's an opportunity that you bring to yourself when you can overcome that fear, because now you know what it is that's stopping you, right? Because if you don't know what's stopping you, you don't know how to get over it. But once you recognize it and you see it, then you have the opportunity to overcome that fear. The next thing that you can do is just break it down, right? And fear can feel overwhelming because often we see it as just one huge insurmountable obstacle. It's like, oh my gosh, like this situation I can't get over, right? I can't conquer this fear because it's so big. There's too many things that I have to do. But you got to break it down. You know what I'm saying? It's just like with accomplishing a goal. You have to break it down into small, manageable steps. You know what I'm saying? Focus on tackling one step at a time. And then suddenly the big fears seem much more approachable. Okay. I mean, it's like the saying when they talk about the elephant. You can't eat an elephant in one day or something like that. I think it goes. I don't know how it goes, but I think I've heard
I
this
don't know
somewhere.
that saying, son.
Okay, maybe I made it up. I don't know, but it's something about an elephant. The elephant is big. You know what I'm saying? You can't
Yeah,
just eat an
yeah, yeah.
elephant. It's just one little sitting. You got to go bite for bite. Maybe that's kind of weird for me to say it that way. You know what I'm saying? So I
I'm
take
saying
that
I
back.
get the
But
point though. You gotta break it down in
but you know,
steps,
you got
break
to
it
break it
down into
down into small
chunks. Yeah,
pieces.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But that's where I'm going with it. You know,
yeah.
you can't look at something that's big and expect for it to just happen in one time. Like break it down, small pieces. You know what I'm saying? Next thing that you want to do is just seek support. You know, don't go at it alone. Surround yourself with people who support you, who uplift you, and you know, and that allow you to share your fears and then that help you achieve your goals. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm scared about this, but you talking with someone and discussing it with someone, you know, they can provide feedback for you. They could be a sounding board for you. They can provide you encouragement, all of those things that can help you be accountable, motivate you, and then ultimately just help you push through whatever it is that you're experiencing in those moments. Next thing would be just take daily action, do something every day. You know what I'm saying? Make a commitment to take small steps every day to overcome that fear. And then from there, you build your consistency, right? And when you build consistency, that builds momentum. And when you have that momentum, making the overall journey feels less daunting because you're in motion. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that comes to you, you're just moving so freely and with such a sense of certainty. You know, when obstacles come about, you're able to navigate and you're able to move through them, and then you have more confidence to achieving those goals. You know what I'm saying? So just again, just taking those necessary steps to get past that fear, to navigate through that fear, to overcome that fear, to recognize that fear. Those are things that you have to do. It's a process. And we talked about this last week when we were talking about money with kids, where we talked about having a process. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a process. Everything takes a process. It doesn't matter what it is. Business, health, money, self-development, all takes a process. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to fear and overcoming fear, have a process, go through the process, and then you can come out on top.
Hey, what he said,
Yes, sir. Absolutely. What I said,
exclamation
do it.
point. But so in summary, um, so like overcoming fear is a continuous journey of growth and self-discovery. So by acknowledging fear and choosing to go anyway, you set yourself on the path to personal and professional fulfillment. So like everything we just talked about, those steps outline um that they're not the steps that we outlined are not just strategies, but really a way of life that embraces courage, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of your dreams. So you really just have to remember that fear is not your enemy, it's a guidepost to your greatest potential. And you know there's just so many positives that can come out of you know facing your fears, and as outlined in the example that was provided with the public speaking, you can really just unlock a lot of new skills that you never knew you had. And until you exercise those muscles, or get in a situation where you can stretch those muscles, you really won't know what you're truly capable of. And by living in fear, you're really kind of like handicapping yourself.
Yeah,
You're taking,
you're limited.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You putting yourself on the bench. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not letting yourself be a star. You know what I mean? And it's really silly when you think about it, because like a lot of people are worried about what other people think of them and how other people perceive them. But the reality is most people ain't worried about you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? People were so caught up in their own mind worrying about themselves, like how you doing. You know what I'm saying? That they're not really worried about you. So if you go out there and it don't work out, like whatever, man, it is what it is. Like keep going, keep trying, and as you get better, that what's on the opposite side of that is so much more greater that you won't even remember the times that you came up short or why you were trying to sharpen that sword. But with all that being
Absolutely.
said, you got anything you want to add, Sid?
Nah, not really, man. Stretch yourself. Like he said, man, stretch yourself and see the benefits of working out those muscles, those fear muscles.
Already. But
Yes, sir.
as always, man, y'all know how it go. If you don't do nothing else, keep it thorough.
Keep it
And we'll holler
thorough.
at y'all next week with a new episode.
Yes,
Until
sir.
then, deuces.